Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of my brand new mini-series, Behind the Illusion, where we're interviewing magicians from all over the world, including today's guest from Ohio, who won the 2023 Florida Magician of the Year Championship, securing his fourth total victory of the title, Justin Cowgill. So, I'm just gonna start off with the questions.
Alrighty, lay it
All
on
right.
me.
How'd you get started in magic, and what age were you?
So, the earliest age I could probably recall was definitely 12, but maybe a couple years before that. You see, my grandma, we called her Memo, my Memo Ann, she had a bowling team practice, and after they went to get some dinner, and at that dinner, there was a guy walking around showing magic. And the best way I could remember this is he had a nickel, yeah, he had a nickel, and he smacked it on the table right in front of me, and it was a giant nickel. Never seen anything like it done. So I mean, after
That
that, a magic bug bit me. I was in it.
that is actually really funny because how I got started in magic is I was at dinner with my grandma and there was a guy walking around doing magic and he did the old SpongeBob routine where like he takes three, puts them in my hand, and it's one massive sponge ball.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I got started in magic because when I got home I was like I have to figure out how he did that. That was awesome. And then I looked it up and that's how I got started in magic, you know?
Oh
It's
yeah, I went
we have
home
we
with
have very similar stories.
magic. Oh yeah,
Man, we gotta pay respects to them restaurant magicians.
for real. They're doing wonders. So
The next question up is what are some of the personal favorite tricks that you have performed yourself?
definitely the classic billiard balls. I think it's a classic in magic. Really shows off the skill. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Uh, it was one of the things I just fell in love with. I seen a magician early on, Yo Jin. He was doing card manipulation, and I like the style of it. And looking into YouTube videos of different other manipulations, and I came across billiard balls, and I just fell in love.
There's a lot of classic tricks with billiard balls that I've seen and I want to learn how to do them, but I feel like my hands are just too baby hand size.
No,
Like
I get it a lot. My hands are pretty small too.
yeah. I want to learn that one where it's like the making the bowling ball appear. That one's a great one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard you what was the name of that magician that was doing the card manipulation that got you interested again?
I may be pronouncing it wrong, but Yu Ho Jin. I remember he was a part of the Illusionists.
I remember I remember I saw the Illusionist show at the King Center a while ago with the rest of the shop. But alongside him, who were some of your other inspirations?
Slidini. He another one of the classic guys. His coins through table. I was another trick I adore
Yeah.
performing and doing and seeing.
Yeah. There's the going back here on the Illusionist. I remember there's this one guy, his name's Daredevil. You remember him?
Vaguely, vaguely.
He was the one who put the scorpion in his mouth.
Ooh, I think I remember that. I was more familiar with like Dan
Yeah.
Spurry and the
No,
tricks.
like I could never do that because I'm afraid of getting injured. Because like, could you imagine having a scorpion in your mouth? It is gonna sting you, dude.
Oh yeah. I mean, I always have a rule, personal rule with myself, like the escape artists who really risk their lives. I don't even pop a balloon unless I'm popping it myself.
But like, if you like, have you ever gotten injured doing a trick, even if like it wasn't specifically a dangerous one?
Mm, that's a good question. Have I gotten hurt? I don't think no, not that I can recall that like I'd really urgently bring it up. Probably just hand pain while doing sleight of hand, but nothing to the extreme.
Nothing too extreme. Um, but like we've gone over like what some of your favorite tricks were, what some of your favorite tricks were when it came to, magic and stuff like that. But what's like your handout trick? Resuming, what's your handout trick?
So like something that I like to like walk up and start with or open
Yeah,
with.
like handout trick is like what's a trick that you like if somebody like if you're at an event or whatever and like somebody's like, "Hey, you do magic, show us a trick." Like what's the trick that you normally have on you to do that?
Well, I mean, shameless plug-in with the Triumph Deck Plus that would so
Yeah, I actually funnily enough, I actually believe I have one in this. There we go. There's the Triumph deck from the
yeah,
Magic
warms my
Shop.
heart.
It's got Justin Cowgill right here on the back. That's you.
So, but another one that I love performing, it involves a flash paper. You walk
Yes.
up and
Yes, Flash
have
Paper is
someone sign
amazing.
a card, and you light some flash paper to help reveal the card. And going through the deck, there's
That's
one.
a that's a good one. I really like I like seeing people do that because like some people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, you're lighting the card on fire," but it's like, nah. But
Ah,
I remember there was this one trick that I'd seen that had kind of like a similar aspect to it, and it was like you would have them think of a celebrity, and then you'd have a canvas with flash paper on the front, and you'd light the flash paper, and it'd disappear, and there'd be a picture of that celebrity. I still have no idea how it's done. It's one of the coolest tricks I've seen. Um, but it's just overall a really cool trick.
yeah, mentalism was one thing that I never really dipped my toes into, only very surface level things.
Yeah, but like, well, like if you're on the surface, you don't really do like any difficult tricks. Like, what's the most difficult trick you've performed?
Skill wise, definitely the billiard balls. Just the different moves, practicing them. Um, that one I took a lot of time to learn. The coins through table was another one that took a lot of
Yeah.
time and practice. I've been doing it since probably 2021. And the other one,
Oh, that was 4 years ago.
yeah, it's crazy. So
Ugh, I don't like
flight time is
that.
really important. And the billiard balls I started maybe roughly around 2018,
2018.
2017. So
Yeah, I don't even want to. I don't even want to think about how many years ago that was.
early.
But like, you learn a lot of tricks. It takes a while to learn a trick, and I know that there's like trial and error when it comes to learning them. So, have you ever messed up a trick in front of an audience? And
Uh,
how did you deal with that?
one thing is, you just gotta roll with the punches. One
That's fair.
time, I don't do it anymore, but the watch steal, it was
Oh, I've been trying to learn that one.
there. The only way to learn it is by failing. So there are a lot of awkward moments where I'm grabbing someone's wrist. Uh,
Yeah.
that one is something you just can't, oh, I'm sorry,
Oh,
you
I'm sorry. I was just grabbing
pardon
your wrist
me.
for no inconspicuous reason.
But times I've messed up, I mean, just forgetting a card in general, or forgetting your key
Yeah.
card, and you gotta
Oh, I've
you,
forgotten my key card so many times. It's so embarrassing because then you have to sit there and try to remember it.
or thinking that your key card is their card, you get it mixed up
Exactly. Because then you're like, oh, wait, no, that was my card. I know my card, but now I have to find yours. But like
like
it's so
that.
weird because like you end up in like kind of a situation because like if you mess up and you're like you forget your key card and you replace it with theirs, then you have somebody in the back who's going like, "Oh, he's messing it up. He's blah blah blah."
Oh,
Like hecklers are like, "Oh my gosh, hecklers. They're such a topic." Like how do you deal with hecklers? Like how do you deal with like hecklers and skeptics?
uh, kind of in a challenging way. I mean, when it comes to hecklers, you just gotta divert the energy like an airbender. Um,
Airbender.
that's probably
Man.
the best
I
way to describe.
remember Airbender, it's whenever I hear Airbender, I just remember I had gone bald one time when I was going to school, and I had shaved my head bald because like that was my go-to hairstyle at the time because hair would get in my eyes, get in my face, make it hard to study. Kids would be ruthless. They'd call me Caillou, Mr. Clean, Avatar the Last Hairbender. It was evil. They were despicable with it, and I hate the fact that I kind of laughed at Avatar: The Last Airbender because it was so stupid but so funny at the same time. I personally loved it being an insult. It was, but it's like you're not supposed to like an insult, but that one was funny.
Oh, apologies for bringing up
No,
past.
that's fine. It's fine. It's just funny to hear it every single time.
But
But
yeah, that's how it comes to hecklers, just trying to divert it. When it comes to skeptics who really stare at my hands, I mean, well, go ahead and stare. I mean, yeah, I
yeah, I know,
can
right?
are here, but
You're just messing it up for yourself.
yeah, I just like to have fun, have a good time.
Yeah, the good part about hecklers is like, sometimes you can kind of, just kind of flex on them every now and then like, oh, I was able to do this because of this and you're saying it's not great, you know?
I'd say
Like
the
what's
best
the
outcome is making them help your routine almost.
yeah.
Like if they're so strong armed, then you can play it into the story a little bit.
Yeah, like you can be like, oh, you just kind of work in their strength to your trick. You're like, I'm also kind of strong. This is why I'm able to do this. It's a very good way to kind of work your way around things. Because, when it comes to skeptics, you got to find a way to, kind of silence them so you can continue what you're doing. But you also don't want to be rude about it because, you're not supposed to be rude. That's not nice.
You
No
know,
better than they are, you're
story.
being
It wasn't exactly a heckler, but I had a card underneath a box. I haven't even started my trick yet. I was just about to have them start picking a card. I was at a table. It was kind of like a restaurant, and it was the lady's birthday that I was performing for. And they had lifted up the box,
Oh
and
no.
oops, there's a card under there that they weren't supposed to know about. The lady looks at it, and goes, "It's a joker, guys. Anyway, it doesn't matter." Into the routine where we go to look at the card because I just go I just move on, why bring
Yeah.
attention to it. So when it came part to it, I take a look at the card. It's not a joker. I don't know where she got that in her head, but I just went, this will be surprising for some of you guys, and just went on and flipped out the box. Hey, take a look at that.
That
And
is
they all
probably one of the best ways to work it around because, like, she was like, "Oh, it's a Joker," and her friends are like, "Oh yeah, it's a Joker," and then you tell
and
them
even
it's not a
I'm thinking to
Joker, and they're
myself,
like, "He
is it a
changed it.
joker? We're all
Is it a Joker? Did I mess it up? Did I place the wrong one?" Yeah, but like, so like you were performing at a restaurant, right? Like,
I've
that's what you said.
performed in all sorts of different settings.
You performed in all sorts of different. What's like the coolest place you've performed at?
Banquets, very fancy business banquets. I love those, or like where they're celebrating for their employees by giving them a, fun night.
Yeah, like I wish that I could find an employer that just does that. Like that's kind of rare nowadays. Like because it's like businesses they're not really like, they're not really open to doing stuff like that because it's like, we could pay for this party for you guys because you've been working hard or we could just pay you guys to keep working hard. It's like let's roll a dice here.
Hey man, I just stick to magic. I just do what I do what
You
I
know,
perform.
yeah, and it's like when it comes to magic, magic is, a business in itself. We spend a lot of money on things, every single time we want to learn a new trick. Like, I think the most expensive thing I've bought for like any tricks is probably a watch. I ordered a watch and it was I think it was 150 bucks. I was
Shit.
like, yeah, I got it when I was in Texas a little while ago. Um, but like, what's the most expensive thing you've bought for Magic? Because like you do a lot bigger tricks than I do.
Uh, I mean, I've bought like an illusion, like a square circle before, but one I would, take a shot every time I say a billiard ball, but like an $80 set. I think they were Bon Lee. They were silicone. I mean, they're really good quality, but
Yeah.
very expensive. That was one thing. I mean, I bought my fair share of magic kits, but
Oh,
I'd
I've
say
gotten a lot of Magic kits over
square
the years.
circle.
I remember the shop. They have this like the sword in the box. I want to know how much that costs. Like, how much would it cost to either build a unit like that or buy a unit like that? Because I imagine buying it on like online or something would be more expensive because you got to pay for shipping, to get that massive thing to your house or like, to your studio, wherever you're ordering it from.
I mean, yeah, I've seen like the head twister. That's one crazy
Ooh,
thing.
yeah.
Like I don't know, the craftsmanship to make it. I don't have it, but
I
it's
mean,
probably a pretty penny.
yeah, that's probably probably a pretty expensive one. I know the shop, I think the shop might sell one, like just one. I remember they had the mini smoke machine too, which I was never able to get because I was never, you know, fluid enough to buy it. But if I had the ability to get that or the head twister, I'd probably go with the smoke machine. No offense, but that's just cool, mini smoke machine.
Yeah. I don't know. I never thought it would be my like style or if it looked good with me, but I always thought, Shin Lim when he did it, always cool.
Yeah. Yeah. The the cool the cool thing about like the cool thing about magicians is like we are so well acquainted with one another, even if we've never met. Like I've never met Shin Lim, but I know a lot of the tricks that he's done. And like I am like me and you as magicians, like we're well connected with a lot of other magicians at the same time. So like it'll be like, oh, this one trick was performed on Penn and Teller, Which, if I'm being honest with you, I did not know what Penn and Teller was until about like 2, 3 years ago.
Can't be admitting that. Gotta keep that on on the
Well,
low.
I have to admit it because I'd feel guilty not telling somebody about it. Because the main reason is like I would be, I'd be in a magic setting, we'd be performing tricks, it would be like, magic club. And people would be like, "Oh, this is that one trick from Penn and Teller." I'm like, "Yeah, that's that one trick from Penn and Teller." Then in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Was it that one trick from Penn and Teller? I don't know what Penn and Teller is. What's Penn and Teller?" And I never thought about like at the time, I just never thought about Googling it. Like Google wasn't like my main go-to. I was just like, "Oh, what's Penn and Teller?" I didn't even Google it. I was just like, trying to figure it out. And then I had seen a clip on YouTube and I was like, "Oh, Penn and Teller, this is what it is." And I started watching. I was like, "It's a show. It's a show." And I could have been watching it this whole time. I could have been watching Penn and Teller this whole time. But nope,
We live
I
in a
just didn't
good
know what it
age,
was.
because you got the magic books, and then you got the tricks that you get to watch on YouTube of them doing it. You know,
Yeah, no, right? Like we've got so much resources now. Like, could you imagine telling like, like Houdini? Like, yeah, so that really cool trick you did?
just
We
word
can
around
watch it over and
town.
over again now, but I'm not performing it. We're watching it though. How? YouTube.
Or some great. I love the great clips from like the 80s,
Oh yeah, yeah.
80s, 90s. Um,
I I watch a lot of like I think the oldest magic stuff I've seen was like an old film camera recording one of Houdini's acts. Like that was one of the oldest ones that I've seen.
you
I
have to
I
keep with
I
that
don't know if
new
that's the oldest one I've done, but I've definitely seen some older.
how monumental he knew what he was filming.
I know, right? Well, I mean, I think it might have been just like another, like, I think it might have been like a media team or whatever. I don't, honestly, if I'm being real with you, I don't know if it was real or not, or if it was like a actor or whatever, but it looked very old. So I'm just gonna assume that's the oldest one I've watched, if not
Let's
old
just go with that. It's
AGT
real.
acts.
That'll make it easy.
Yeah, make it easier on myself. But I mean, if it's not real, then probably the oldest thing I've seen is like old AGT acts. That's probably like the oldest that I've seen then. But what's weird is back on the Penn and Teller topic is like I didn't know Penn and Teller was a show until like 2, 3 years ago. But then I met this guy when I was in Texas. His name's Liam Abner, and he just got to go on Penn and Teller for like the new season. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I did not know what the show was until like 2, 3 years ago. And then sure enough, I end up meeting someone who goes on the show like a couple months after I meet them. I'm like, "What are the odds?"
I
And
mean,
like I'm really happy for him. Like that's an amazing opportunity.
if you were in Texas, was this the SAM
It
convention?
it was the SAM conference, yeah.
Oh
It was
yes, yeah, that's always a good link up of or web of magicians that meet up.
yeah, I got to meet a lot of really cool people. I got to meet Eric Chien, which was really nice.
Shay, that sounds familiar.
He was
Uh,
the one who went on America's Got Talent and he did the blue red card act. The one where it's, changing the red cards to blue cards to
individual.
red cards. Like I think the coolest part about it was like I don't know if you remember it but he dropped like a card over the side of the table and he reached over to try and grab it and then like when he comes back up his vest is blue and red. I
I
was I was amazed for sure.
Oh yeah, I love that style of table magic. It's very beautiful, very poetic in a
It
way.
is because like you don't really understand it until you understand it.
Oh yeah, with little nuances of
Yeah.
everything.
I still like there's what I love about tricks is like what I love about tricks as a magician is like I'll see them and I'll think I'll know how it's done. And then I'm like, wait, no, but it can't because of this. It's like it cancels itself out and I'm like, how? And then that's what I also love about magic is like once you don't know how a trick is done, you're like, now I have to know. And then you start putting in that work. It's definitely a very good work ethic being a magician. You're always staying mind ready.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I
you're definitely smarter than I am when it comes to magic, but I try my best.
Hey man, you learn some new things, you forget some things, but muscle memory is there.
I've forgotten a lot of things. If it's anything like 2017 and past, I probably don't remember. Honestly, at this point, it's probably like 2019 and past.
Mm.
I have very, very poor memory.
I
I
just
actually forgot how to do cups and balls for like 5 years. Like,
got that on the
COVID happened, right? And the club had to shut down. I had just recently learned cups and balls right before the club shut down. And then over that course of the 5 years, I think I forgot it like in the first year of quarantine. And then I had to relearn it once we started going back to Magic Club. I had no idea that I had even forgotten it until I saw somebody else do the trick. And that is embarrassing.
ah, yeah, man, keep that on the low.
Well, I mean, this is going on, social media, so it's probably not going to be that secret anymore.
Well,
So I messed up.
yeah, you gotta empty out the closet while you can.
I gotta empty out the closet, get rid of it all. I think I've exposed myself enough.
Skeletons.
I've let all sorts of stuff out. I didn't know Penn and Teller was a show until like, a couple years ago. That was embarrassing. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I also forgot to do a magic trick. People are gonna start questioning if I'm actually a magician.
Losing your stripes.
Oh no. I hope not. But
Nah, you're good. You were always passionate about magic, and that was always nice.
it is something a lot of people tell me is that like once I got interested in magic, it's something I don't really shut up about, which I will take as a compliment because of how interested I actually am in magic. You know, I still want to learn how people do these tricks. It's still incredible to me. And the best part is like as a magician, you can decide whether you or not you want to learn how that trick is done. You can be like, I want to learn how that trick is done because I want to do it, or you can be like, I like that trick and I'm not going to learn how it's done because I like seeing the trick. Or you can learn the trick and still enjoy it. It's very versatile, very, very useful.
Oh yeah. I always just like I like just watching it, enjoying it.
Yeah.
There's some tricks though that I feel I have the strong urge to learn. But that's more because I want to perform it as well.
Yeah, I want to learn a lot of tricks because I want to grow more as a magician. So I recently ordered this the card to watch, that one. I ordered that and I actually got it for a really good price. And I was like, if I'm being honest, I was surprised it came in as good a condition as it did. But I had ordered it and still had no idea how it was done. It took me at least a couple hours to learn the basics of it. I still don't know if I perform it correctly, but I mean it looks good to other people when I do.
Hey, it's all about entertaining folks.
Real. I I buy a lot of stuff, which is terrible for me because I don't have a great way of making money. So I'm spending more money than I bring in, which I don't even know how is possible. I don't have enough money to keep buying the things that I do, but somehow I keep buying them. Like I'll get like $1 into my like bank account and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy something with this. Like if you give me a savings account, I'm sorry, it is not being saved. I am terrible with money, if I'm being honest, especially when it comes to magic. Because like, there's so many cool things. Like, I just bought this a couple days ago, and it's a chick pan. It's basically like a dove pan, but even tinier. Like, this is the entire size of it.
Wow.
It is a very tiny unit, and it cost me. I want you to guess how much this cost me.
65.
If it was 65, I would have been crying myself to sleep. I think it was like $27 I spent.
Okay, all
But
right.
like for something that small, I feel is kind of embarrassing.
Well, I
Like,
mean, uh, chick pans, dove pans, candy boxes,
yeah,
relatively do the same action, but they're very powerful units of
yeah.
magic. Very surprising.
I mean, honestly, I'm not too embarrassed about it because the watch I bought for 150 is smaller than that. So, I mean,
One
uh,
trick that I heard when it came to trying to like save money, or like when you just see something so cool with magic, is you gotta take a step back and think, do I see myself performing this?
yeah,
Like, because not every trick is for every like character or person. So when you really take a step back and look at it, okay, I probably don't see myself performing this, or okay, yeah, I could, produce something from the pan and show it off.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, that's really the advice that I was given as a young
Yeah.
magician.
A lot of the tricks that I do, I kind of diversify like which character I'm doing. It's like I have a mustache just, for like an old-timey character. I have, at least five different suits that I put on. Like I kind of spread my character base out a little bit, but not too far from, the tree.
Well, that's good. Yeah, some people they have a really full character. I'm gonna try and stay in this suit here, kind of like a cartoon character.
I just recently got a new suit and it's I think it's Croft and Borrow. It's a pretty good one, It's kind of gives old detector, you know.
Hmm. All right, pretty long on the sides, like a trench coat almost.
I
Or
mean, it's a little long on me, which is good, when I'm trying to be, like an inspector, detective. Um, thinking back now, I just said detector, mixing inspector and detective together. My brain, it's not great.
nah, it's fine. Those are always the best magician brains.
Yes, always goofing up a little bit of a sentence. Never heard an act, you know. It gets people to laugh. But, it's very interesting when you put into perspective like how many different characters I like I've seen like it's interesting seeing how many different characters somebody can do because I've seen I saw this one magician. I can't remember for the life of me what his name was, but he would do an act where he would switch between all of his different characters during one show. So like let's say in my like example, he'd be like a detective, He'd be, walking around magnifying glass, looking around, that's his whole character. And then he'd fall behind like a table or something. And then he'd stand back up and now all of a sudden he's like a knight in shining armor. Like I don't know how he does it, but he still made the trick work, even though he was changing, the characters over and over again. I think what he had said when he was asked, why he did it is because he wants to keep things interesting because you're gonna lose attention if it's just the same guy doing the same things over and over again. But when you start changing things up a little bit, you're getting the attention of the audience, and they're like, "Why?" And they start thinking about it, but they're still paying attention to the show.
Yeah, gotta keep them on their toes so they pay attention.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I do. I do smaller tricks, like simple card tricks. Yeah, changing colors of silks. But then when I really want to get like the audience's attention, I'll do like a bigger trick, like a handcuff escape or swallowing a sword, playing with fire, stuff like that.
Hmm, so
But
dangerous.
I think those are some of the more dangerous tricks that I've performed. But it is currently 3:25, so we're getting pretty close to the end of the interview here. Is there anything you'd like to add before I ask my last question?
No, I mean it's been a pleasure. It's
All
been
right,
fun.
well, the last question I have for you is what advice would you give to a future magician?
Practice and flight time. Yeah, you really gotta drill in a trick. Uh, Also recording. So practice in flight time. You always got to practice your tricks, get your moves right. But flight
Yeah.
time, you gotta it has to be practiced over time. Let me see here. Uh, yeah, over the years, I've been doing the coins through table, the billiard balls. Like I mentioned, it was like 2017 and 2021 when I've been doing it. So I mean, we're 2025 now, so that's flight time. It's been flying
Yeah.
for a while. That's what I'm trying to get at. But you can practice in a mirror, but recording is probably the most crucial aspect that I've been told because the recording won't lie. You can slow it down a little bit. Uh,
Yeah.
that's probably the most crucial things that I've been told.
So practice and flight time are things that you would tell a future magician to very much focus on
And recording your magic.
and
Yes.
recording your magic. All right, well, thank you so much, Justin.
Thank you. I mean, I appreciate you for hitting me up for this. And I mean, it's been a pleasure.
All right, yeah. Well, I mean, it's good to talk to you again, and I'll see you later.
Until next time, thank you.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.